Welcome to another episode of Conversations and Connections, the official podcast of the Family Crisis Center of East Texas. I'm Stuart Burson, the Prevention Coordinator for the agency, and with me today, someone who's been on the podcast before, Michelle Cox, a life coach here in East Texas. And Michelle is actually going to be talking to us today about an upcoming event in February. It's the Changemakers Women's Resilience Summit, and that'll be on February the 22nd in Nacogdoches. Michelle, thanks for thinking of us, because actually you reached out to me.
I did, yes.
To come and be on here. So I think it's a great opportunity to see what's the latest going on with you, and to talk about this Women's Resilience Summit coming up, and the way that it kind of ties into what we do here at the Family Crisis Center. So again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So I kind of want to touch base again. Your main thing, I guess your main gig, or whatever you want to talk, however you want to talk about it, is being a life coach, right?
That's right.
So let's get a refresher, because I know we kind of talked about all of this before. It may have been maybe a year ago. I can't remember when it was.
Almost exactly, actually.
whenever you was here. But let's kind of get a refresher. What exactly are we talking about? When we talk about a life coach or life coaching, what exactly is that?
Sure. So life coaching is like hiring someone to be a guide to kind of help you explore your thinking, your feelings, your nervous system, what's happening inside of you that's creating maybe some uncomfortable emotions that you have, feeling overwhelmed or stuck or anxious. And so a life coach will use the cognitive behavioral approach to look at the thoughts that are creating the feelings, and then what action you can take in shifting that thinking and shifting the way you feel, and create a different result in your life. Okay,
great. So coming up on the 22nd of February, which is as we're recording this, we're it's the 30th, so we'll just go ahead and say this month, on the 22nd of February, is the Changemakers Summit of East Texas, or the Changemakers Women's Resilience Summit. So if you don't mind, kind of tell me what is that all about? What can we expect out of this, and what is it?
It is the women's event of the year, honestly. It's huge. We have 11 different speakers who are all women from East Texas, and women who know the area, are familiar with what are common challenges that we have in a more rural community. And so these are women who are speaking from their heart, from their own experience, their challenges that they've been through, and they have come through, and they've been resilient and found that inner strength. And so they can share that message with all the women who come. And we have, hundreds of women who are coming and going to be a part of this event. And so we're really excited to have this become an annual event that will travel from county to county, so that the women directly in that area will have that benefit of it being close to them, in their backyard practically, it's some sort of convention center near them. Mm-hmm. But any woman who comes is going to have the opportunity to hear a message from someone they can relate to. Because we have 11 speakers talking on a pretty wide range of topics, but they all relate to women's mental health, physical health, emotional well-being. And then there's also the vendors. We have over 25 vendors who are all approved of by my board to make sure they do have some sort of benefit to women's wellness. So some of them are counseling offices, some of them are skincare products, just feel better, look better,
Yeah.
And then also nutrition, and they're, artisans. We have a pottery studio here in town. They'll be there, and we really want women to find avenues of improving their well-being. So it could be physical wellness, emotional, social, finding a new hobby, a new skill.
Okay. So can you kind of go over just a little bit about the topics. You say 11 speakers. That's a lot. And I'm assuming this is an all-day event, right?
Practically, yes.
What are some of the things? I know you kind of talked in generalities about just overall well-being and stuff. Can we go a little deeper in that and talk about the different topics that some of these speakers will address?
Absolutely. So yes, and let me give a little bit on the time frame. So from 12 to 1 p.m., this is at the Nacogdoches County Expo Center. From 12 to 1 is market hour, and that's when women can come early. They can come visit the vendors and save their seats. If they don't have a VIP pass, then they'll need to come and save their seat. And so that hour will be really fun, getting to know the vendors and what they're offering. And they get extra door prize, raffle tickets, the more vendors they visit, just making it fun. And then from 1 until 5, so 4 hours with a 40-minute intermission for an appetizer and dessert buffet. We have the women on stage for just 10 to 20 minutes each.
Oh, okay.
So very short, to the point, very powerful. And when you have to condense your message to a smaller time frame, you're going to just hit right to the core a lot quicker. And so we have, for instance, Sydney Allen from Hooligan Counseling. She's a yoga instructor. She's going to do a guided breathing or breathwork exercise. I'll be speaking on the topic for this year. The theme is You Are Your Catalyst, and really understanding the potential and capacity that you have to make changes in your life and to make your life better. So I'll be talking about that. We have Ann C.K. Nickel. She's coming actually from Waco. Her talk is called "Don't Be an Extra in the Movie of Your Life, Be the Star." And
that's cute. Okay.
She has won storytelling competitions and festivals, and she's a fabulous speaker. So we'll have a vocal performance by Christina Leary, who's with Sacks of Love, if you're familiar with that organization. Mary Templeton Allen, her talk is "Clutter Clearing to Change the World." So she's a clutter coach. Okay. And Heidi Speaker of Speaker Orthodontics, she's going to be talking about sleep and the ways to improve your health through better sleep patterns, and how she came through postpartum depression by making changes with her physical health. And so her talk is called "How to Be Healthy When You're Too Tired to Care." And so then that's session 1. Then we have an intermission. Session 2 is Sharon Miller. Her talk is called "With the Help of My Faith, I've Gone from Tragedy to Triumph." She's actually a domestic violence survivor. She was in a very dangerous situation for 19 years and was able to finally escape. And so that's why this felt like a really good partnership with Family Crisis Center when we were talking about who's going to benefit from this. Is there a nonprofit that we can support and encourage awareness and direct donations to? So $2 of every ticket is going into the Provide a Night of Shelter campaign, and then we're also going to be kind of crowdfunding and make it a fun, like a campaign during the summit as well. Send a $5 donation, $20, whatever you can, during the summit. And so we're hoping that the women will get rallied up and really support this really important cause. And so then we have Taja King. Her talk is called "Me, My Self-Esteem, and Scoliosis." So she'll be talking about growing up with a disability, growing up in poverty, and how she's had to really learn how to develop that resilience, that self-esteem, despite all the odds against her. The next speaker is Felicia Seeley. She's talking about clearing the way for your vision. And she's also been through a difficult marriage. She was divorced, and now she's a single mom raising her daughter and doing absolutely beautiful things, and a light to other women who have gone through divorce or are in the process. So we have a couple more. We've got Sarah Gallander of the Wellness Matrix. She's talking about nutrition, and her talk is called "Beyond Calories, Redefining Nutrition and Discovering Your Body's Conversation." So she does amazing work helping women see that nutrition and physical health is more than counting calories. There's a whole bunch of different facets to that. Then we have Haley Lewis, who's going to give another vocal performance. and Michelle Mixon, who's of Endeavor Counseling Center. She'll be talking about healing from trauma through connection. And finally, we have Tara Odell coming from Tyler, and she's talking about guilt-free boundaries. Free yourself from people-pleasing and embrace your inner catalyst. And she's a burnout coach for high-achieving women. So she had a 20-year career in banking, and burned out, completely burned out. And so she has been able to develop a beautiful program that empowers and strengthens women who want to stay in the workforce and really need to realign their values of taking care of themselves and not have to go through burnout like she did.
Yeah. Well, this sounds like it's such a big event that you're having. Like you said, it's probably the women's event of the year. And pardon my ignorance about this. Is this the first year that you're doing this? Has this happened in years past? Or
this is the first year. So last year, Mary and I had the Clutter Genius. She and I had done a smaller women's event, and it was just fun and intimate and just really sweet. And we loved having this smaller group. But then I was like, if I'm going to do this again, I think I'd rather go bigger. And if I'm going to do this work of planning and seeking sponsors and vendors and all this stuff, let's just go big and see how many women we can really bring together. And I've been in conferences like this where it's a women's empowerment type of thing. And for me, this little person sitting in the back of a big room, listening to all these stories that were so inspiring. And finally, it was like the end of the second day of this 2-day one that I was at a few years ago. Suddenly, it just like the clouds parted, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. I can figure it out. I was feeling stuck in my life. I was in a big transition stage, and it just kind of just like, oh, I'm going to figure out my next step, the thing I need to do. And so that's what I'm hoping for women who come, that they've got a burden, they've got a concern. They'll just be able to sit back and say, oh, they figured it out. I can figure it out too. I've got the same building blocks inside of my brain too. I can do it.
Great. I kind of want you touched on this, but I kind of want to revisit this. I want to talk about how the Family Crisis Center is benefiting from this event. If you can let's kind of go back and talk about that. If you could explain how that works and how we're going to benefit from this. Yeah,
for sure. Well, and I think it's nice first to note that because I'd had that contact with you a year ago.
Right.
That's why Family Crisis Center also came to my mind, because I'd been here, I'd been on the podcast, and I'd interacted a little bit in these coalition meetings. And so when we were thinking about, who do we reach out to, and a number of different nonprofits came up, and I was like, well, I've got a contact, over at the Family Crisis Center. And so that's kind of how that started. And then as I got to know the speakers and seeing that there was a theme. Actually, I think 3 of them have actually said that their marriage was either emotionally abusive or physically also. And so it just kind of made sense that this would be a good partnership. And then as I've been following the Family Crisis Center online, I'm like, oh my goodness, these statistics are terrifying.
Yeah.
There are so many women in real need of help. And so we really love what you're doing, and that there's a safe place for them when they're seeking, shelter, getting out of a really bad situation. So we're excited to be able to support that.
Yeah.
And so, so by buying a ticket, some of that is going into the fund, and also, during the event.
Right,
and
right.
Already we've been saying, here's the link, direct link to Family Crisis Center, but put a hashtag changemakers so that they know that it was one of our women,
Yeah.
So we'll see how it kicks off.
So what's the response been so far from the community for this event?
It's been really fun to hear so many women say, I've always wondered why we don't have a women's conference in Nacogdoches, and now we do,
Yeah.
and they're excited about that.
Great.
They're really excited about it. And then it's not just Nacogdoches. We have women coming from, down towards Houston, up towards Dallas, pretty much I'm seeing all around our region. So I'm really excited to have that. And we do want this to be regional, because then you can kind of create this feeling of community. I'm not alone. I actually have a network. I know people
Sure.
in different towns who are going through something similar. We hope that they will make new friends. And going back to that conference that I attended in a different state a few years ago, I went into this conference not knowing a single person. I was in a really tough situation, just not sure what I'm doing next with my life. My youngest was going to kindergarten. Had been a stay-home mom for 19 years, and I was like, what do I do now? And I was really struggling. And my husband said, go to this conference. I know you really like this life coach who's running it. And I was like, but it's going to cost money. And he was like, go. If you don't buy the ticket, I will. And so I bought the ticket, and I took the train, and I went up there, and I was like, I don't know anybody. But I just sat down, and the women I ended up sitting by became my friends, and we still text each other in a group chat.
Great.
And just check in on each other and see how we're doing. And that's what I envision for our women here, that they will make friends in other cities and have something in common and say, hey, let's keep in touch.
So you did mention earlier about your board. What organization is actually behind this? What organization is moving this forward?
Michelle Cox, mindset coach.
Okay, well, and that's fine. I just I didn't know.
So,
I wasn't sure.
No, that's fine. So but I knew that I was going to need help to put this together. It takes a lot of man hours.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of people reaching out and making connections, and so. But I am forming a group called the Changemakers of East Texas. We have a Facebook page. We have a Facebook event. So it's Changemakers of East Texas.
You have a nice looking website. I looked at the website.
Yes, I hired this amazing friend of mine who does websites, Smile Bright ads. And so she did the website. She's running all of my Facebook ads. She's been super helpful getting the word out. And now we have a commercial on KTRE as well. So
great.
That's running till the night before the summit.
So finally, kind of want to talk about how, if someone's listening to this, they are interested in going, how do they go about getting tickets for this event? Where do they go?
So go to changemakersummit.com. That's the website. So go there. You'll see all the speakers, their names and titles, and get familiar with the topics. And I really encourage women that when you get on the website and read through the talk titles, really take a minute to say, this one would help me. This one would help me. This one sounds interesting. I want to know more. And really come to the summit with that intention that I'm going to get something that will help me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hear something that I can take home with me and really change my life and be that one who's in the ownership position. I'm taking ownership of how I act, how I treat others, how I think about myself, how I treat my body. And then that's where you'll find some real power in your life.
Okay. And will tickets be available at the door if somebody doesn't buy them in advance?
They will be. So on the website, you'll see that we had an early bird rate that's passed now. So we're at regular price is $70. But for all my listeners, you can take the Summit 10 promo code and take 10% off. So that's really good. And at the door, we're saying $85 because we have to pay for catering and all this other stuff because there's the cater buffet. Sure. So we need to make sure that we have food. So that's why the emphasis is on buying tickets before you go.
Right.
So that we can know who's coming and how many.
How much food to get.
Food to get. And also, I just also want women to realize that when they come, this is them taking the stance that they know they have value and they know they have worth. And I think a lot of women struggle because they take maybe their kids' mistakes, it reflects on them as a mom or as a person. Or the mistakes they've made in their life, it reflects on their worth. And so really take this opportunity to separate your mistakes from your worth. Your worth doesn't change. Your learning can happen. You can grow and you can move forward. So that's what I hope that women really get from this event.
Awesome. All right. Michelle Cox. Again, it is the Changemakers Women's Resilience Summit. That'll be on February the 22nd at the Nacogdoches Expo Center. Thanks so much for sharing the info with me, and I hope you have much success out of all of this.
Think you. I hope so too. I just know it's going to be a beautiful day, a beautiful event, and everyone who comes is going to just have a great time.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank
you so much. And don't forget also, if you feel like you need the services of the Family Crisis Center, we do have our toll-free number. That's 1-800-828-7233. Subscribe to Conversations and Connections via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, pretty much any podcast service of your choice. And if you'd like to make a donation to the Crisis Center, go to our website, FamilyCrisisCenterofEastTexas.com. There at the bottom left, you'll see a donate button. Click on that if you would like to make a monetary donation to help survivors of relationship violence. Remember, be the voice, if not for you, for someone else.